Hey there, welcome to my channel. My name is Mallory, a military wife who used to live in Germany. Welcome back to this series about FAQs about living in Germany. Last week I did an FAQ video on housing, and this week the video is going to be about bringing your dog to Germany. Before we get into the details, make sure to hit the red subscribe button down below and give this video a thumbs up if you find that it's helpful to you. So these tips I will be talking specifically from my perspective as a dog owner, but they could most likely be applied to if you're bringing a cat as well. A quick background on Zoey. She was 6 years old when we brought her to Germany and about 75 pounds. Like I said, she was a German Shepherd. And then since my husband had to go over to Germany before I could go, I flew over with Zoey on the Patriot Express. Then coming back, we actually got an exception to policy and were able to fly commercial, and we flew on United Airlines. Okay, so let's get into the FAQs about bringing a dog to Germany. The top question that I saw seemed to be, can I bring XYZ breed to Germany? So people would say like whatever breed they had, and is this allowed? There are a few breeds that are banned in Germany. And I will have a link, I don't know them off the top of my head, so I will have a link in the description box to a German website. It's in English, but you can go to that website and see which dogs are the prohibited breeds in Germany. I can't give any specific recommendations on what to do other than leaving your dog with a trusted family member or friend back in the States. But like I said, Zoe was a German Shepherd, and German Shepherds, if you have one, are totally acceptable. Another question was, what was the total cost to bring Zoey? So if my memory serves me right, I paid $275 on the Patriot Express, and they calculate that by weighing the dog in their crate. So when you go up to the counter to check in for your flight with PE, you will put the dog, they'll help you put the dog crate onto the scale with the dog inside. So based on that, she was 75 pounds plus the crate weight, it came out to be $275. Coming back to the US, like I said, we flew commercial on United, and I believe it was around 500 euro, in between 500 and 600 euro. So you translate that into dollars. So it was a little more expensive, but it was not too terrible. You know, it wasn't in the thousands of dollars. So that was pretty reasonable in my opinion. And with United, if you're flying United, they use the company called PCSing that specifically handles your pet. And no, the military does not reimburse for pet costs. That is on you. And in addition to the actual cost to get your pet on the plane, you will want to factor in other possible costs, like if you don't have a crate yet for your dog, that will cost you some money, especially if it's like a huge extra large crate like we got for Zoey. You'll want to get metal screws to put into the crate, and maybe get like a airplane kit where you get like stickers and a water bowl and a pee pad and all of that. It's not too expensive, especially at the PX, but you'll have like little incidental costs in addition to the biggest cost of actually getting them on the flight. Another question was it an issue flying in December due to weather? So like due to the cold, and I suppose you could apply this question to the summer as well. So Patriot Express, the pet area at least in cargo, is climate controlled. So we did not have to worry about Zoey being exposed to the elements. And with PE in particular, they kept the pets in their crate. Like after you handed them over to Patriot Express, they were in an indoor like holding area, and then they were put into a van, a climate controlled van, and taken onto the tarmac and then put into the climate controlled cargo. So they were never going to be sitting out on the tarmac, you know, they were never going to be exposed to the elements. I believe it was the same kind of thing with United coming from Germany. We flew out of Frankfurt Airport Another question was, do you have to let the military know you're bringing a dog, or does the dog go on the orders? So no, the dog does not go on orders. You don't have to tell the military that you're bringing a pet. At least in Wiesbaden, there was a limit on how many pets you could have in a stairwell apartment. I think maybe it was 3, but you'd want to double check on that. All right, another very much probably wondered about question for anyone who's bringing a pet over to Germany is, what's the general procedure to get your dog on a Patriot Express flight? So you'll want to, and this kind of covers a few questions that I got. So you'll want to go visit your travel office at your base up to 90 days in advance of your flight or when you want to leave. That is the earliest that you can book a flight, and I recommend going ASAP because there are limited spots for pets on PE flights to Germany. I think only up to 10 per flight, if my memory is right. It may be less than that. If there is no space available on Patriot Express for when you need to fly based on your orders, then you can get an exception to policy in order to fly commercial, and that's what happened to us. We got our orders only a month before we could be back in the States, and so flights were all the pet slots were taken up. Thank you to a commenter that left a comment about getting an acceptance policy from an 06. So you just get that, and then you can fly commercial. And then if you happen to fly with United, you will want to get in contact with United Pet Safe separately from booking your tickets with United through the travel office. So the travel office does not take care of that for you. You have to do it yourself. And I was very satisfied with both our Patriot Express experience and United experience. Another question with a really quick answer is, do you have to quarantine your dog when you get to Germany? And the answer is no, you do not. All right, and the final question is about travel tips for bringing a dog over. I had somebody say, I'm worried about the long flight for my pet, and I totally understand that. It is a little nerve-wracking to think about 7 to 12-hour flight depending on where you're coming or going to. Here are my best tips. One is to get your dog acclimated to the crate as much in advance as possible. So, a few months at least before you are set to go. Even if you don't have firm orders yet, and you have your RFO or something, get the crate and start crate training if your dog is not crate trained yet. Also, I forgot to mention that if your pet is small enough to go under the seat in the cabin, that is also an option. Another thing I did was put a piece of my clothing that I'd been wearing into the crate before she got on the plane. Now, Patriot Express was totally fine with that. They didn't care that there was a piece of clothing in the crate. However, with United, they were a little more strict, and they only allowed a pee pad in the crate as well as a food and water bowl that were empty. So it just depends. PE seemed a little more relaxed on that point. So if you're worried about that, if your pet has separation anxiety, then getting on a PE flight may be better in that respect because you have a little more flexibility with what you put in their crate. Another thing that I used with Zoey was the spray Adaptil. It is a synthetic pheromone that helps to naturally calm the dog. I don't know if you can use this with cats. You could look that up, but definitely with dogs, you can use it. And so what I did with Zoey, when I would be crate training her, I'd use the Adaptil spray in the crate and then also sprayed it before going on the flight on the day of the flight. Along the same lines is to avoid sedatives. Of course, talk to your vet, but generally speaking, you do not want to give your pet a sedative. Then here's something that you can do for yourself that will benefit your dog, is to be calm around your dog on travel day. Dogs can pick up on our emotions, and if you're stressed, even if you're just like stressing out for the dog is going to pick up on those emotions. So try to stay as calm as possible. I know some people have flight anxiety as well, but just try to portray a very calm demeanor and talk calmly to your dog, and don't be like, super excited, but don't be overly affectionate either. Just be normal. Try to be as normal as possible so that they kind of get the idea that, you know, this is a normal experience. This is what's supposed to happen. And finally, take your dog potty before getting on the flight as soon as you can, right before the flight. If you're flying out of Patriot Express or if you're flying Patriot Express out of BWI in Baltimore, Maryland, if you go downstairs from where you check in with PE, go, I believe it'll be left out of the elevator, like go to the end. It's at the very end of the building, and go outside to where the train is, and then there's going to be a potty area right out there. So that's what I did, is I took Zoey out to potty right before, I mean, it wasn't right before, but it was like within an hour of her getting on the plane. So those are my answers to FAQs about bringing a dog to Germany. And I hope that answered some more questions. I know it can be kind of stressful, like bringing a pet over, like I said, what can be a very, very long flight. But like I said, everything went smoothly with Zoey both ways. Even we had a direct flight from Frankfurt to San Francisco coming back. And she was fine. She didn't even have an accident in her crate. So of course, every pet will be different. But I think if you prepare properly and get the pet acclimated to the crate, and you're calm and you're prepared, that makes a huge difference. I mean, I'm all about preparation for an overseas PCS. It makes a world of difference when you have that preparation. And just a little plug is that I do have our PCS binder sheets printables in my Etsy shop for sale, and you can find that link in the description box below. It just helps you like organize your binder a little better. I recommend everybody make a binder for moving to Germany, because it helps keep all of your things organized. And I actually just kept it, I didn't like disassemble it when we got to Germany. And so when we came back to the States, like the basic shell was there, like everything I needed. So I just like added in what we would need for coming back. So both ways, it's super helpful. So I encourage you to go check out my Etsy shop below. And yeah, if you have any more dog or pet related questions with regards to Germany, maybe you have questions about like actually living in Germany with a dog. I didn't really go into that. This was basically just about going. So if there are a bunch of other questions about life in Germany with a dog, then leave them in the comments below and I can do an FAQ video on those things specifically. So again, make sure to subscribe, because I will be doing, I think I have maybe at least 2 more FAQ videos on Germany planned. So you will want to hit the subscribe button because you don't want to miss those. Click the bell so that you are notified when a new video goes out. That's the best way right now to know when I post a new video. So thank you guys for stopping by. I hope this was helpful. I love helping out other people moving to Germany. And so in the meantime, you guys take care, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.